All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. This video comes from the Dr. Phil show, and it's titled Defunding the Police, a Failure or a Fallacy. Now, I think in 2023, if you believe that the police need to be defunded, you done lost your marbles. It's a lot of crime. It's a lot of craziness going on in the world today, and if you don't think the police are helping at least somewhat to mitigate that at all, then yeah, you lost your marbles. But I'm going to let this video play out. And I'll give some of my takes and comments maybe throughout the video, maybe at the end. We'll see. But don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe while we're watching. Now let's roll it.
Right. And so when I say, oh, I don't believe there's a need for police, what I'm saying is that there has been so little investment in creating the conditions under which police would not be necessary. And that is the issue. That is the holistic issue. And people are creations of the society in which they live in. And if you are a society that has such massive inequality, and you are a society that is based on racial and gendered hierarchies, and you are a society that deprives people of the resources that they need to live, talking about housing, clean water, food, all of these things that are part of an equitable society, you're talking about people that will do desperate things in order to survive. And so you're not solving anything by arresting those people. You are not solving anything by shooting and killing those people.
I agree with you 100% on society's failures about how that person became a criminal. My point is we also live in the here and now. And if someone invades my home and has my wife held hostage in the bedroom tonight,
Sure.
I don't give two about where they came from tonight. What I care about is a solution tonight.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that we don't need to solve the problem so my grandchildren don't get held hostage in their bedrooms 20 years from now. But when you say we don't need police because of developmental failures, that doesn't solve the problems that are occurring tonight, tomorrow night, the next night. Those things have to be dealt with.
I hear you. I truly, and I'm not being, I hear you. That is the fear that continues to drive us toward more policing.
No, that is the reality in which we live. That's not a fear.
Yes,
fear
it is
the
fear
anxiety or
based on an
anticipation of
understanding
something that may
be there.
happen. What I'm describing is something that is happening, and we have to have guardrails. We have to have someone to turn to. We have to have someone on the end of 911.
I don't think that you can.
If somebody breaks in your house and they got your wife, your daughter, your brother, anybody that you care, that you love and care about, in at gunpoint or just in a dangerous position, you want that situation handled ASAP. You know, and I would take matters into my own hands. I think everyone should at that point. You know, you can't call the police if people are already in your house. You got to have your own protection. That's why we got that 2A. But I will throw this guy a bone and say, I think the world lacks true love and just caring for one another, you know, caring for your neighbor. You know, people may talk a big game online and, you know, all these virtue signaling, social justice warriors and, you know, things of that nature. But if you don't love one, you don't love anybody. So, I mean, I think the world in general is just devoid of love, even on a like neighbor to neighbor level. You know, back in the day, at least from the way my parents describe things, you know, your neighbors, like there was an actual sense of community. It's probably not the same for every neighborhood where, you know, the sense of community is gone. But I think that has disappeared for the most part in this country. You know, people walk past people and just don't even care about them. So yeah, I do think the world is devoid of love and care. But you know, that don't explain defunding the police.
Just land all those racial issues and put them on the police department itself. Because police departments recruit from society. And in fact, I would argue that there are much more stringent vetting of police officers than, say, your school teachers, your medical doctor, your bus driver, your postal worker.
All of those other professions do not have the ability to make a decision in a half a second of whether they're going to shoot somebody or not.
But
And
they
that's
have
the
the
difference.
ability
Lori,
to-
actually,
yeah.
for bringing us back to the point, because
Yeah.
I want to do something
But
I
they
should
do
have done
have
at
the
the top of
ability
the
to
show.
affect the
Natasha
life.
McKenna,
They absolutely
Tamir
do.
Rice,
They do.
Grashario Mack, Oscar Grant, Mario Woods. I could go on and on because what I do every day, is hold or listen to or comfort women that have been raped and families that have lost their loved ones to the unthinkable. That is what happens. And so when we talk about law enforcement's humanity, I understand we need to have that conversation, and I'd agree that we need to deal with their trauma. But when they're having a human moment, that far too often means we end up dead.
Well, let me explain something that's going to happen if you defund.
But she's talking about all this trauma that people go through. You know, police save people from situations like that. You know how many domestic calls a year or per month that police got to go deal with? Police saving people every day. Whether you love them or hate them, police save people every day, and they not perfect. You know, nothing is perfect. It's like even computers aren't 100% perfect. And it's like the AI is like supposed to be the smartest thing in the world. Even computers aren't perfect. In an entire institution of policing, yes, there will be slip-ups. Yes, there will be hiccups and mistakes. You know, these people not perfect. They people just like you and me. And you, ma'am or sir, who wants to defund the police, you aren't brave enough to take up this job. Hell, I don't even know if I'm brave enough to take up this job. As crazy as the world is today, I would not want to be a police officer. I got family who is, and you know, I support them and I pray for them, but I don't think that could be me. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, she lost me there, saying that she deals with trauma every day, but police officers, you know, a part of their job is coming through and breaking up these traumatic events. You know what I'm saying? Police arrest people. You know, example on a domestic thing, right? So let's say a woman is in a house with a man who's beating her, and I'm talking about he's really beating her, like not some Me Too claim. If the woman calls the police, you know, in the heat of the moment, you know what I'm saying, let's say something's going down, or even the neighbor, if the neighbors call the police and, you know, they hear something's going on and the police come in that door and, you know, they break it down, whatever, and they get that dude out of there, then, you know, the police has just helped to end seriously helped to end the trauma of somebody going through trauma. So, you know, she's only talking about the trauma that's caused by the police, but she's glossing over all of the trauma that police officers help to suppress in a way.
On the police, some other organization is going to take over the responsibility. It's either going to be a gang, organized crime, it could be anybody. But if you defund the police and you have people feeling less safe in their neighborhood, somebody is going to patrol that neighborhood, and you may not like what they do.
Desmond, what do you want to say?
I'm sorry, I gotta pause it. That is a great point. That is a great point. I mean, just look at Mexico for an example. You know, I'm not trying to crap on Mexico. You know, I got a lot of Mexican friends. I love my Mexican people. But Mexico is crazy because, yeah, you do have a government and you have the police, but then you have cartels. You know, the cartel is from what I hear, the cartel is really running that country. So just like he said, if you get rid of the police, it's like an empty power vacuum. Somebody is going to come to scoop up that power and take it for themselves, whether it's a large gang, a militia, something, but somebody will come, you know, or just people hiring their own private security. Then these people going to have a problem with that. If the police go away, then people going to have to protect themselves somehow, especially businesses. Going to be a lot of private security being hired. So, yeah. You know, just like you said, somebody will come and fill that void.
We need to be, in my opinion, as somebody who studies education, a little bit more careful. Because I know it's hard to remember, but we actually are on the same side here. Do we want a safer community? Same side as far as my concern, right? So it's now gotten to the point, though, where there is so much unedited discourse that you're worsening the problem based on how we're talking, right? We have defund the police. We have somebody in education. I have students saying, oh yeah, we do not need a police force at all right now. There is a here and now where we do need police force. There's also preventative measures that we can take in education, right? That can prevent these things from happening in the first place. Is working together that out of the question?
When you've got law enforcement agencies that target people like me with misinformation and lies and put targets on our back, I don't know how then I sit down at the table with that person.
Do you have a story or a question for me?
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation, a good conversation. I mean, you know, people lie and put misinformation on police officers all day now. You know, the police officers are demonized to an extent that is honestly crazy, considering, like I said earlier, all of the good things that they do, all of the lives that they happen to save. You know, it's like nobody wants to talk about that. So false narratives get put on police as well, you know. It is what it is, you know. But that's it for the video, you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought about this in the comments down below. Until next time, you guys, I'm out of here. Peace.